Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to coverage of Audubon Green Wave Baseball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Last year it was rain, almost like Noah's Ark last year when the Audubon Green Wave played the Haddon Heights Garnets in late May. The game was rescheduled. It was played at Audubon with Haddon Heights wearing their home whites and Audubon wearing their road colors. But today it is a sunny sky, not a single cloud in sight. Unfortunately, it feels more like a July afternoon in the Sahara Desert instead of suburban New Jersey. 86 degrees today at first pitch as the Audubon Green Wave have their second road game on the year. They're going to be playing a couple more games this weekend in the Ralph Shaw tournament. Cinnaminson on Saturday, and then the winner of Bishop Eustace and Kingsway, or the loser of that game, depending on if Audubon wins their first game in the four-team Ralph Shaw tournament, again on Saturday and Sunday. Audubon just got done their warm-up, so let's go over to starting lineup, starting with the Green Wave as coached by Coach Haddon. It's Tyler Wiltsey at shortstop, batting leadoff to NewJersey.com Freshman of the Year. Charlie Copsetta's in center field. He bats second. Scott Lynch is the DH. He bats third. Ryan Zimmer is not behind the plate. He is in front of the plate. He is the starting pitcher today, his first career varsity start for the Green Wave. Trent Bantle is the catcher for Audubon, but he will not bat in the order. He will just play defense. Charlie Grady is in left field, batting fifth. Jack Dempsey is at second base, batting sixth. Zach Beebe is in right field, batting seventh. Joey Slavin is the first baseman, batting eighth. And Nick Caladros is the third baseman, batting ninth. For the reigning South Jersey Group 2 champions and the runner-ups in the state final, as the Haddon Heights Garnets did lose to Ramsey 6-2 after beating Rumson Fairhaven in their semifinal game. But Haddon Heights is a very accomplished team with a very accomplished lineup. Don't forget, their catcher last year, Caden Bodine, hit a .535 batting average, and by our numbers, was 30% better than the second best player in the Colonial Conference, considering his batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, and OPS. Basically, he was 30% better than the second guy in line, so he was a full country mile ahead of everybody, but now he is the starting catcher and cleanup hitter as a freshman down at Coastal Carolina University. So how about that to check off your bucket list with a Power 5 school starting in the middle of the order as a freshman? Can't get much better than that. But for the Haddon Heights Garnets, as coached by Eric Newell, we have Nolan Latchall at second base, batting leadoff. Jake Grice as the shortstop. He bats second. Drew Harris is the starting pitcher for the Garnets. He bats third. Jack Turner is the third baseman for Haddon Heights. He bats fourth. Drew Costello is in left field. He bats fifth. Anthony Priori is in center field. He bats sixth. Excuse me, hold up. The catcher, Cameron Simon, forgot his first name for a little bit. Remember, it's a big job filling in the shoes of Caden Bodine, just like Charlie Copsetta filled in the shoes of Xavier Massey. They're big shoes to fill, so apologies if I forget his name a couple of times. Cameron Simon is the starting catcher for Haddon Heights. He bats seventh. Austin Boker is the first baseman, batting eighth. Greg Rotolo is the DH, batting ninth. And Vincent Nasuti is the right fielder as a defensive-only player. So each team's going to have a lot of proving to do, as Haddon Heights already won their South Jersey Group 2 final and, again, finished second in the state final. Audubon has to have a rebound of a season, as everyone doubted them going into this year, including, in some ways, myself. If you saw my South Jersey rankings for the preseason, I ranked them 12th. But if this were maybe the state final where they had made it all the way there, maybe they would have been a little bit higher. But if you do check out our Twitter at DW Broadcasting, you will see every Wednesday updated South Jersey baseball rankings, a top 25 plus an honorable mentions with 5 extra ones as well. Shawnee was number 1 this week, followed by Woodstown, St. Augustine, Delsea, and Cherokee in the top 5. So umpires are getting set at home plate. They're meeting with Eric Newell, the Haddon Heights head coach. Rich Haddon is going to come out shortly. The infield is being dusted up and getting ready for some baseball today. We're going to be right back after this with Colonial Conference Baseball from Joseph Servino Field here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. and then you can bring up the balls and strikes. It's time for the green wave to land on the shore. Get it? Rocks with the Garnets. It's rock ball. Drew Harris is starting on the mound for the Haddon Heights Garnets this afternoon. 35 2/3 innings pitched in 2022 as a sophomore. 50 strikeouts on the dot, 2.78 ERA and a 1.25 whip. With an FIP of 2.36, he struck out 14.2% of the batters that he faced. As we said, 35 2/3 innings. That would place him actually 12th in the Colonial Conference for innings pitched last year, behind Dane Sammartino, Nick Tomasetto, Chris Ruggieri, Jack Norton, John Perosi, Sean Driscoll, and Dante Honorado, Luke Linkle, Luke Laxton, and John DeCostanzo. Remember, Heights had a pitcher, John DeCostanzo, 55 1/3 innings last year. He led the Colonial Conference in innings pitched, but did not lead in ERA. In fact, the leader of that category would be John Perosi and Sean Driscoll. DeCostanzo was about 5th on that list, behind Jack Norton of Gateway, Nick Tomasetto of West Deptford, Sean Driscoll, and John Perosi from Haddon Heights. Here's a first pitch rocket to left, and it's going to all the way out to where we are. Harris picks it up, and he'll throw. Costello throws it up, and that will be a first pitch double. Tyler Wiltsey. Well, I'm sorry I didn't get that on camera. I was so taken aback by the fact that Tyler Wiltsey got this party started so early. How about it, TW? So runner on second with nobody out, and this brings up Charlie Capsetta. Here's a ground ball, picked up by Harris, go to first. It's in time, went away. Yeah, folks, I'm going to try to adjust this camera the best I can to the fence. Trying to do it the best I can. Have to adjust as we go along. So here's Scott Lynch. Runner on third. First pitch is a ball. Excuse me. 1-0. So 2 pitches, and we've already had one heck of a start. Tyler Wiltsey with a first pitch double down the line, and then Charlie Capsetta with a sacrifice bunt. And there is a strike. Hello. Well, you can tell the wind is blowing out to left field, I'll tell you that much. 1-1 pitch to Lynch. He was second in the Colonial Conference last year with 4 home runs, just behind Nick Tomasetto of West Deptford. So Tyler Wiltsey is on third. Drew Harris in a bit of a jam here, looking to not allow the first run of the ball game for Audubon. There's a swing and a miss. Lynch is retired via the strikeout on a swing and miss, and this brings up Ryan Zimmer, the pitcher. That is weird for me to say, I gotta tell you. After so many games of announcing him as the catcher, it feels really, really out of my element to call him a pitcher. But he said in the offseason that he is going to work on it, and work on it he did. It's inside, 1-0. He was doing the bullpens. He showed up when the pitchers and catchers showed up, obviously since he was a catcher, but he did both pitchers and catchers drills. He was obviously preparing to step into the element of 2 ways. There's a base hit in the center field. Tyler Wiltsey will score, and it's 1-0 Audubon on just a half dozen pitches. And just like last year when Audubon played at Joseph Servino Field, Audubon's got an early 1-0 lead. Bryce Dempsey will run it first for Ryan Zimmer, although usually he would be running because he's the pitcher, but I guess they're going to do that substitute runner because the catcher, remember the catcher today is not batting. Trent Bannell is catching as a defensive player only, so technically they can use that substitute runner on whoever they want and then still have him retain himself in the lineup. First pitch to Charlie Grady is a strike, 0-1. So I really got to update my scorecard before it gets too late. So Tyler Wiltsey had a first pitch double. He came around to score. Charlie Copsetta had a sacrifice bunt. Scott Lynch struck out. And Ryan Zimmer had an RBI single, so now fifth batter of the inning. And it is 1-1 to Charlie Grady. 1-1 on the way. There's strike two. Just getting started here from Haddon Heights, 1-0 Audubon. And, well, Bryce Dempsey broke for second, but it's not going to matter as Charlie is down on strikes. Audubon scores one. We go to the bottom of the first, 1-0 Green Wave here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Bottom of the first in order for Haddon Heights as Audubon scored one in the top half thanks to a first pitch double by Tyler Wiltsey, a sacrifice bunt by Charlie Copsetta, and an RBI single by the starting pitcher Ryan Zimmer. Now usually this is where I'd go on a spiel about his ERA, his innings pitched, his strikeouts, but he has none of those to his name. This is his first career varsity start. Trent Bennell behind the plate also making his first varsity start as the catcher. He has had a couple pinch hitting appearances, but nothing too extreme, as this will be a new battery for the Green Wave, pitcher and catcher Ryan Zimmer. His first varsity batter will be Nolan Lackall, and the first pitch is a strike, 0-1. Zimmer throws a lot of heat, and you'd imagine he would, considering that he is a catcher and he's used to throwing twice the distance that it is from home plate to the pitcher's mound. It's a swing and a miss by Lackall. 0-2. It'll be Nolan Lackall, Jake Grice, and Drew Harris, the first three for the Garnets in the bottom of the first. 0-2. And it took only 3 pitches for Ryan Zimmer's first varsity strikeout. Congratulations, Zimmer. And there's one away. A lot of firsts this year for Audubon. Joey Slavin had his first hit on opening day. Trent Bennell has had his first as well. Here's Jake Grice. First pitch. Breaking ball away, 1-0. The difficulty of setting up and broadcasting where we are down the left field line, which is obviously an obscure angle for us to broadcast from, it's mostly because I'd like to be closer to the street and not get eaten up by bugs out there in center field. I mean, quite literally, there is just woods and woods and woods back there in center field. I mean, you can see just the extensiveness of the trees that are all back there. And, like, I love my job, but I'm not going to die for my job. It's 1-2. Swing and a miss. Zimmer sets down another. He may have found himself a new sidekick or a new side gig. There's 2 down. So back-to-back strikeouts for Zimmer. Here's Drew Harris. So back-to-back Ks for Ryan Zimmer to start the first. Here's a ground ball back to the mound. And that'll be the second out. My apologies. Grice had 2 strikes on him, and that is a ground out. So, sorry about that. Base is empty, 2 down. So I'll have to change my scorebook. That'll be a 1-3 ground out with 2 down for Drew Harris. I knew something wasn't right because they play the walk-up music, and it is 0-1. 1-0, excuse me, to Harris. Here's a ground ball, hot shot to Wiltsey. Picked up, throw to first is in. Plenty of time with a long-distance rainbow across the diamond. Haddon Heights is retired 1-2-3. We're going to have another chance for the Green Wave in the second here from Joseph Cervino Field. We'll be right back. Top of the second. Drew Harris looking for his second inning of work here. Audubon leads by 1. A very quick start and a very hot start on a very hot day. 86 degrees at first pitch here in Joseph Cervino Field in Haddon Heights. 5 men came to the plate for Audubon, and Tyler Wiltsey was the one that led it off and the one that scored. Here will be Jack Dempsey leading off for the Green Wave in the top of the second. He's on the right side of your screen in the green jersey, yellow lettering, and the first pitch is a strike. 0-1, I think. I keep trying to look at the scoreboard because Audubon updates theirs in like a fraction of a second, but whoever's doing the score here may be a couple seconds behind. Here's a fly ball rocketed to center, out towards right center, and it is caught out there by Nasuti. And there's 1 down. Jack Dempsey with probably the deepest fly ball he's hit in a while. He's more of a singles hitter, but that had a bit of distance to it. And here is Zach Beebe. On the leisure, 2 hits for Audubon, 2 strikeouts and a sacrifice hit to their name. Jack Dempsey gave 1 a ride but was unsuccessful. It's 1 away. First pitch is a ball. What a no. It's kind of like the Rutgers-Camden game where I was kind of guessing for a little while. Or even some of the softball games because I couldn't see the scoreboard. There's a strike. See that? You could hear. You could hear that very audibly from the home plate umpire. 1-1. Especially when it's a called strike, you know. It's made obvious when the hitter swings, but that's an easy enough detail to look at. Check swing doesn't go. Count should be 2-1. It'll be Dempsey, who already batted. BB's at the plate, and then Joey Slavin on deck for Audubon. Great turnout here in Haddon Heights. As there's a strike, 2-2. Fans lining up in their lawn chairs all the way down the left field line out towards left center. Some of the younger Audubon kids taking in the ball game on a beautiful but scorching Thursday afternoon. 2-2 as a swing. Yes. Zach Beebe down on strikes, and this might be a battle of the K's today, as it's the third strikeout already for Drew Harris. It's 2 away for Joey Slavin. So here's Slavin stepping in versus Harris. First pitch is a strike. On the outside corner, 0-1. If this inning were to continue, Nick Caladros will be next. He's warming up on deck for Audubon in the green and gold. Joey Slavin's done pretty well for himself in his first varsity season. He was a Jaybird junior varsity player all of last year. But you also got to remember who was there at first base last year, and it was John Perosi. So there wasn't really any room at the end, but now there's been a vacancy, and he has put up his signs. The 0-2. Outside, 1-2. I tried to think of a better motel joke. No more room at the end, and then he put up his signs, like the do not disturb signs. But, man, pollen in this season of the year is crazy. 1-2. He's outside, 2-2. They were cutting the grass just about an hour before game time, and I think I sneezed about 10 times in a minute. Ooh, it was rough. It's outside. I mean, it's bad enough when they're raking the dirt in the infield and you can barely see, but it's even worse when they're cutting the grass. I mean, I've never seen a team cut the grass right before the game. There's ball 4, so Joey Slavin has worked from an 0-2 to a 4-2 and a free pass to first base. So now here's Nick Caladros. First pitch, shallow and caught, and the inning is over. So pop up to second base retires the side for the Green Wave. They leave a runner on first base, and the side is retired. We go to the bottom of the second, 1-0 Audubon. Bottom of the second in order. Here for the Haddon Heights Garnets. They went down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. Audubon did the same in the top half. And the first pitch to Jack Turner is a strike. I didn't hear it, so I'm glad you saw it, Matt. 0-1 from Zimmer. That one is down in the dirt and to the backstop. 1-1. Mantle had to get that ball and get a new one. Yeah, there's enough scuffs on a baseball that happened during a high school game, but there's not enough baseballs to go around to where you can just let one go to waste. So that one is up and in. Turner's got a duck. and it is 2-1. But it's not like college baseball, you know. It's not like where you can really afford to lose a couple baseballs here and there. Like a couple of my buddies and I, we went to a game that was between Rider University and Delaware. It was in Delaware, in Newark. That's what they call it, Newark, Delaware, and different from Newark, New Jersey, obviously. But a 2-strike count to Jack Turner, and the pitch is down in the dirt, 3-2. But we went to the Delaware game, and we got a foul ball, and they told us, you know, can you give that back, you know? And the player comes out of the dugout, and I'm like, sure. And never seen that before at a Division I college baseball game, but that's how expensive the baseballs are. That's going to be ball 4. Jack Turner walks. But then a couple months ago, back in March, not a couple months ago, probably about a month ago, went to a Delaware State game down in Dover, Delaware, right near the NASCAR track. It was quite a fun experience, and we got a foul ball, and they let us keep it. We were right next to the Central Connecticut State bullpen, and they didn't give two darns, but that one's a scraper. 1-0. 1-0 to Drew Costello, junior left fielder for the Garnets. 1-0. It's going to be a pop-up that's going to hit the net above home plate. It's 1-1. This broadcast is brought to you in part by DJK Roofing, South Jersey's #1 roofing supplier with over 200 5-star reviews on the web. Get a free quote today by calling Carmine Rampolla at 856-778-3900. Again, that's 856-378-3900. Throw down to second base is gonna get away. It'll trickle into center field on a stolen base for Jack Turner. And one of the parents, I believe that is one of his parents, yells, "He stole that base like a Cadillac." Well, I hope that doesn't show up on his record. It is 2-1 to Drew Costello. And what a sight this is, as that will be ball. Oh! Drew Costello thought that was ball 4. And instead, it was a strike. So it's 2-2. He went further than most. He went all the way down the first base line before realizing that ball. I think it's 3-2. I would imagine, but they're not updating the scoreboard. So see, that doesn't make any sense. If he bunted with 2 strikes, then that means he would be out. So. Look, I'm starting to question if I need glasses or something, because this isn't making any sense to me. Runner on second for Haddon Heights. Hot shot foul. It'll be Costello and then Anthony Priore. No outs in the bottom of the second. Audubon leads by 1. Swing and a miss. That is a strikeout. Doesn't matter how many balls he got, as long as he got 3 strikes. There's Anthony Priore. Well, Wade Geis is talking out there, and Scott Lynch is warming up down the third base line in the bullpen for Audubon. Dylan Pooley is the bullpen catcher, but I would imagine that because this is Ryan's first varsity start on the mound, they're not going to overload him with pitches. If this were a scrimmage, you maybe let him go a little further and you give him a little more breathing room. But this could be a lot like what Gabe Cologne did last year for Audubon, where he was an opener. He never pitched more than 2 innings in a game, but he got the ball rolling to start, was a driving force early, and then let another long reliever do the heavy lifting. Should be 0-1 to Anthony Priore, excuse me. It'll be him and then Cameron Simon, catcher for Haddon Heights, here in the bottom of the second. That is a ball, 1-1. See, I'm used to at Audubon, they update the scoreboard every pitch, or our guy that does it behind the plate, Dominic Perry, he always does a spectacular job of updating the balls and strikes as soon as possible. This one goes to the backstop, throw to third is not in time. In fact, there was no throw. So it should be a 2-1 count. Haddon Heights threatening with a runner on, 90 feet away from scoring the first run for the Garnets, and tying this game up as here's a little floater out towards first, and it's caught. 2 down. So here is Cameron Simon.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is H to the OV. I used to move snowflakes by the OV. I guess even back.
I feel bad for the person that's sitting behind that speaker. They either gotta have earplugs in or they gotta have a hearing aid by 35. Audubon's got the same thing. They have giant speakers that are out there, and they do a fabulous job of reaching the outfield, but like if you're sitting behind those, you got to scream at the top of your lungs in order to be heard. Should be a 1-1 count to Simon. I think maybe 2-0 probably. Yeah, I think 2-0 probably. It's just confusing because usually everybody updates the scoreboard with the balls and strikes, not just the runs. But here is a ground ball that is caught by Zimmer. Wow. Yeah, so it didn't really matter though because the inning is over. On the line drive caught by Zimmer. We go to the top of the third, 1-0 Green Wave. Here in the top of the third, Drew Harris wheeling and dealing, but down by a run as coming up will be Nick Caladros. Excuse me, Tyler Wilson. Scott Lynch still warming up down the third base line for Audubon. So he's still getting in his work. And so are we. Thursday afternoon here from Joseph Servino Field in Haddon Heights. If you're just joining us, welcome to coverage of Audubon Green Wave Baseball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at Dan, D-A-N, Wilkins, W-I-L-K-I-N-S, show, S-H-O-W, at gmail.com. First pitch to Tyler Wiltsey is a called strike. Yeah, that will be something I will have to keep an eye on for the rest of the game if they're not going to update balls and strikes in the scoreboard. There's a foul ball. 0-2 to Wiltsey. Top three due up for the Green Wave. 1, 2, and 3. Wiltsey, Copsetta, and Scott Lynch. Keep in mind, Audubon plays the Ralph Shaw tournament Saturday and Sunday. Of course, pending the rain, that will be a question to consider. But I think if it is light enough and more of a drizzle than a downpour, as it was right here last year versus Haddon Heights, I mean, man, controversy stirred by that game. Here's a base hit in the center field. Wiltsey's 2 for 2. So a double on the first pitch of the ball game, and he has to work for hit number 2, but it counts just the same. Leadoff single for Tyler. Brings up Charlie Copsetta. First game on Saturday will be a good one. Bishop Eustace and Kingsway. Last year they played in Audubon, and Kingsway won 3-0 on a 3-run home run in the 6th by Carter Williams. And Audubon played Kings Christian, but now the only difference is that it is not Kings Christian playing. It will be Cinnaminson, the Pirates, a team that Audubon played in 2022 and won 6-4. Wiltsey's breaking for second. Throw down will not be in time. It'll be plenty short, and Tyler Wiltsey with a stolen base. So Charlie Copsetta at the dish. Second game will be Cinnaminson and Audubon. And then the consolation game will be the first thing Sunday, and then the championship game to follow. Outside. The local tournaments are really fun to cover, especially because you're seeing teams play for something that to an outsider may seem small, but to somebody who knows the significance, it really is a huge game changer. That one's a pop-up foul, and it is 2-strike count. Charlie Copsetta. Like Cinnaminson, you know, some of their players may not grasp why the Ralph Shaw is as important as it is and why it's been going on for the past 30 years. But teams like Bishop Eustace and Kingsway, who have been in the tournament since basically the beginning, you know, they understand. Now, Riverside used to be a team that would play a lot in the Ralph Shaw tournament, and a couple others as well were key figures in the Ralph Shaw tournament. So, like, it's kind of like it's always Audubon, it's always maybe Bishop Eustace, and the other two teams might be wild cards from year to year. Like last year was Kings Christian, and so was the year before that. The year before that also at Riverside. Playing a foul. Long at bat for number 9, Copsetta. Scott Lynch due up for the Green Wave with a runner on second. And nobody out after a leadoff single and a stolen base by Tyler Wiltsey. Swing and miss. Copsetta got too happy with the happy feet, and he goes down on strikes as a result. That is the forced strikeout for Harris. There's one down for Scott Lynch. Struck out swinging his first time. Popped up. Foul. No game scheduled for tomorrow for Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We were going to do Paulsboro at Pittman. There's a high fly, deep left, and it's over the head of Costello. It'll bounce off the wall, take a weird carom. Wiltsey will come around to score. It's 2-0 Audubon. So Scott Lynch plays a deep ball with an RBI double, and it's 2-0 Green Wave. Remember, for a team that's off to a 4-0 start, this is definitely a game that, in my personal opinion, I didn't think very highly of, considering that Haddon Heights made it all the way to the Group 2 final last year. So not only did they make it to the state final, they were one group ahead of Audubon. But remember, for public schools in New Jersey, it is dependent on your size, whether you're in Group 1, 2, 3, or 4. There is a strike. 1-1 to Zimmer. And for parochial schools, or like Catholic schools, private schools, that is dependent on your location. So non-public A is in North Jersey. That includes teams like St. Joseph's, Metuchen, and stuff like that. And then you have in non-public B, that's South Jersey. So that's St. Augustine, Gloucester Catholic, Camden Catholic, all those kind of schools. So 2-strike count to Ryan Zimmer. 1 away, runner on second, and a 2-0 Audubon lead. After an RBI double by Scott Lynch. There's a strike. And Zimmer goes down looking. 5 strikeouts for Harris. Now, when Ryan Zimmer was taken off of second base, when he was taken off of first base after his RBI single, as a ball to Charlie Grady, when he was taken off of first base after that RBI and replaced with Bryce Dempsey, I thought that would meant that, like, you know, he was going to go back to go pitch. But Scott Lynch, if he's going to be the next guy to throw for Audubon, you know, he's still on second base. So there's a strike. Charlie Grady ducked down, but the umpire did not call a ball. That is a strike, and it's 1-1 to Charlie. That's a ball. Lynch holds the second. Two, 1. Strike 2. Because it's dropped by the scoreboard. I can see it, so we're good. Swing and a miss. Half a dozen strikeouts for Drew Harris, but the scoreboard will tell you that he's down by 2 no matter how many strikeouts you have. The runs, they are what kill you. We go to the bottom of the third. 2-0 Audubon. Here we go, bottom of the third. Here from the Joseph Servino Field. 2 strong innings by Ryan Zimmer. He did not allow a run in his outing, but we have a new pitcher for Audubon. It's a pitching change presented by Paroli's Printing, your one-stop shop for all your print and promotional needs with a 5-star Google rating. Over 50 years in business, handling any ink on paper project as well as banners, signs, apparel, and promotional swag. So following the pitching change will be Austin Boker, first batter for Haddon Heights, and the first pitch is a ball, 1-0. Zimmer did not surrender a hit in the first 2 innings. Had 2 strikeouts, a walk, and his last pitch was a line drive caught by himself. So take that as you will. It is 1-1. They are finally updating the balls and strikes on the scoreboard again. I was getting a little bit agitated over that, but there's a ball upstairs, 2-1. I mean, like, I'm not going to say that I can't do it myself and keep the balls and strikes, like, you know, in the scorebook, but it's hard to keep count of all that when you're already scoring the game and when you're talking about Wawa sandwiches and Delaware baseball, you know? There's not enough time in the world for that. 3-1 Austin Boker. Lynch gives up a walk in his first batter. Now here's Greg Rotolo. This is a player I used to play with as a teammate. I used to play Haddon Heights fall ball back in 2017, 2018. I was pretty far down at the bottom of the order. I was just above the Mariana Trench of the order because I could actually hit the baseball. Rotolo was up there. I see these guys when like they play soccer and stuff. They know me pretty well because I was teammates with them, and you know, I was teammates with Drew Harris. I was teammates with Drew Costello. Not sure about any other guys except for the ones that I knew, but as a guy who bleeds green and gold from Audubon, it was definitely a bit weird playing for Haddon Heights, almost like Jordan with the Wizards, you know? It felt weird. It's 2-0 to Greg Rotolo. There is a strike, 1-1. On the scoreboard says 1-1. So I am following their lead, if you will. Here's a fly ball out to right. BB is there. He makes the catch. Had to look up and figure out where that was for a quick second, but that's one away. And this brings us back to the top of the order for Nolan Lackall. Chase Utley's old walk-up song, Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. I was actually at Citizens Bank Park when Utley returned for the first time in a Dodgers uniform. There's a ball. I used to have a swim club membership at the Larchmont Club in Mount Laurel, and this was back in 2016, so it was a long time ago, but when we were done, I got changed, and you know, we were gonna head in the car, and I was like, well, we're leaving unusually early because here's a ground ball foul. We would always stay from like maybe around lunchtime. Maybe we'd grab some lunch in Mount Laurel. We'd go to the snack stand, and we'd always go probably until 7 or 8 o'clock, if not maybe a little earlier. But I was like, well, why are we leaving at 5 p.m.? And she said, and she packed a Phillies shirt for me, and there was a hat in the car. And there's a strike, 1 and 2. And you know, as a young kid, that you're in for a big treat when your mother pulls out her phone and starts filming for Facebook. That's exactly what it was, and she surprised me with tickets to the game, and it was that night. Chase Utley was coming back with a packed house. There's a ground ball in the center field, and Heights has their first hit. So Nolan Lackall back at the top of the order, and he gives Haddon Heights their first hit on the column. You know something about cars, Matt. What was that?
Diesel truck.
It's a diesel truck? Yeah.
It has new turbo in it, so all the smoke comes out like that.
Yeah. Oh boy, wow. I mean, I just saw thick black smoke coming out of it. Yeah, that was weird. That hurt my ears too. Felt like a NASA spaceship was.
They always sound like when they don't have the turbo in it.
I guess that's kind of what the school buses sound like too, you know.
School buses have turbos.
School buses have turbo?
It's a turbo kit. It's not like to make it faster. It's to make the engine run better.
Oh, because when I think of turbo, I think of that Disney snail. Yeah. Here's Jake Grice. Welcome to DWB, where the D stands for diesel. But yeah, that was a fun game. I mean, Dodgers, Phillies, 2016. I didn't even care that the Phillies lost 15-5 that night because Chase Utley came back. He had a grand slam, 2 home runs. I mean, it was a storybook scenario. 2016. No, he was with the Chicago White Sox at the time, and that was his last season before retiring. It's 0-1 to Grice. I believe it might be 0-2. Now it's 0-2. See, got thrown off talking about Jimmy Rollins, but yeah, that was a great game. It was one of those games where you didn't care of the outcome because you weren't there for the baseball game, you were there for the player, Chase Utley. Upstairs and inside, 1 and 2. I've also been to Citizens Bank Park when Carlos Ruiz returned the Mariners uniform. When I was younger and Carlos Ruiz come to the plate, I'd always ask my mom, well, why are they booing him, Mom? Why are they booing him? They were yelling, "Chooch." It was always a fun tradition. The 1-2 to Grice. Just swinging a hot shot ground ball into center field. Heights might get a run here, picked up by Copsetta, and they are going to hold. They're going to hold Austin Boker at third base. And that's going to bring up Drew Harris. No more room at the end for the Garnets. Bases loaded. Excuse me, running at first base is Adam Stevens. The only player in the Colonial Conference to bat 1,000 last year. So, 1 for 1. So every time I sort my stat spreadsheet, his name pops up first for batting average, which is really funny. But no, Caden Bodine was the batting average leader for Colonial Conference last year, 535. That's like an unfathomable number, in my opinion. I can't wrap it around my head that somebody can. Because in baseball, by the way, count as 1-0. Baseball is the sport where if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're considered a good player. Imagine in basketball if you missed 7 out of every 10 shots, you'd be in the G League. You might not even be on the team. Or you might be me. I think I missed 9 out of 10 shots. 2-0 to Harris with the bases loaded. A swing and a fly ball. Rocketed to right. Beebe going back. Does he see it? He does. Tagging from third is Stevens, and he will score. It's 2-1. Audubon's lead cut in half. And the Heights faithful applaud the action as a sacrifice fly to right by Drew Harris. Gives Audubon their first real pressure situation here with 2 down. For Jack Turner, who walked in his first appearance. So, Lackall is on third base. On first is Harris, or excuse me, is Grice, and that's a hit by pitch. So now the bases are loaded again. First pitch clunker for Jack Turner. So he technically still hasn't had an at-bat, but 2 plate appearances with a walk and a hit by pitch, and this will bring up Drew Costello. That's Drew Costello. Bases loaded, 2 down off of Scott Lynch in a 2-1 ball game. 2 hits in the inning for Haddon Heights. Austin Boker walked and came around to score with Adam Stevens being the pinch runner. Nolan Lackall got a base hit. Jake Grice got a base hit. Drew Harris had a sacrifice fly to right. And Jack Turner was hit by a pitch. So with 2 outs, interesting situation for Audubon. It's quickly an 0-2 count to Costello. If this inning were to continue, Anthony Priore would be next for the Garnets. 0-2, Lynch kicks and deals. Swing and a foul. Don't forget, folks, we'll be coming back about 30 seconds earlier in the top of the 4th, as it'll be time for DWB Trivia Time. That'll be a fun one. And of course, as you know, question is in the top of the 4th. The answer will be revealed in the bottom half. 0-2 to Costello. It was a strike called, and the inning is over. Scott Lynch sets him down looking. We go to the top of the 4th, 2-1 Green Wave. We're back here in the top of the fourth. Drew Harris still pitching. It's time for our DWB trivia time. Today's question is, how many Philadelphia Phillies have been featured on the cover of MLB The Show? Is it 0, 1, 2, or 3? The answer will be revealed in the bottom of the fourth inning. We'll go back to the main board now, as the first batter will be Jack Dempsey for the Green Wave. And there's a strike going one. Give me that weird look like you revealed the answer or something. The 0-1. There's a swing and a pinball back behind home plate. That one bounced off the dirt, off the fence, and then back off the roof. 1-1.
No, you get a look because I don't even know the answer.
Oh, you don't know the. No. You gave me a weird look like I showed off the answer by accident, so I was confused. 1-1. Foul ball. 1-2. Dempsey ducks inside, and it's 2-2. Flew out to right field on a deep fly ball his first time. Here's a hot shot out to short. Grice has it. Throw to first. It's in time by plenty of time, and it's one away. Here's Zach Beebe. Good start for him. He's allowed 2 runs. As the first pitch is a ball, looks like. I didn't catch it. I was adjusting the camera, so they didn't catch it either. Upstairs. It is 2-0, Zach Beebe. So that's what I thought, yeah. Coming out to the mound will be their pitching coach. He's going to talk to Drew Harris. He's been good so far. He gave up a leadoff double to start the game on the first pitch to Tyler Wiltsey. He came around to score on an RBI single by Ryan Zimmer. And then Joey Slavin walked at the top of the second, but that was the only base runner that they had. And in the third, Audubon got their second run on an RBI double to the wall by Scott Lynch. It's a pretty short field if you're looking at it in terms of dimensions. There is a strike, 2-1. It's 305 down the right field line, but the fence is at least 25 feet high. I don't know if my measurement's exactly right on that, but it's at least, I would say it's at least 20 feet high. I'll show an angle after this pitch, but the 3-1 is Zach Beebe. On deck is Joey Slavin. There's the strike. You can see out there, out in the outfield, it's a high fence, and then it drops off towards the middle, and that's the same height all the way around, even in foul territory. So that is ball 4. So Zach Beebe walks. Here's Joey Slavin. It'll be Slavin and then Caladros with 1 away. There's a strike. Nice amount of wind. A nice slight gust, little breeze. For a day like today, it absolutely makes a world's difference. It's 0-1. Trapped in the dirt. 1-1. Outside, 2-1. Joey Slavin and Nick Caladros for the Green Wave, and then back to the top of the order, back to square one. But it is a 2-1 ball game. Haddon Heights got their only run of the game so far on a Drew Harris sacrifice fly. Joey Slavin takes a strike called, 2-2. Strike 3. 7 strikeouts for Drew Harris. Joey Slavin is the latest victim. There's 2 down. 3 of 7. Drew Harris, 3 out of his 7 strikeouts have been looking in today's ball game. And Caladros, first pitch is a ball, 1-0. Swinging a foul, and that one came right back down to earth. If you thought Audubon's apparatus behind home plate, the overhang, if you thought that was bad, this thing is even closer to home plate and it's even flatter of an angle. And arguably even more dangerous, but Audubon did the right thing this year by putting up those tall wooden pillars with the fences, or with the netting. I think they made the right decision for the safety of everybody and also for practicality's sake. It's 1-2 with 2 outs. Runner on first for the Green Wave, thanks to a walk by a walk by Zach Beebe, yes. Yeah, I was off by a batter. Just realized that. Swing and a fly ball foul. Tyler Wiltsey on deck. 1-2. 2-1 Audubon. Here in the top of the 4th, moving quickly here in Haddon Heights. And there's a foul ball. How long is the live streaming going on? An hour and 9. It has not felt like an hour and 9 minutes.
We also had to redo the thing, so probably like an hour and 15.
Well, no, that is the length of the current live stream, so it has been an hour and 9 minutes. The Audubon Haddonfield game, I mean, just some food for thought. The Audubon Haddonfield game on Thursday the 6th, so that's outside, 2-2. The Audubon Haddonfield game on Thursday the 6th was under 2 hours, and it was a full 7 innings. Meanwhile, the Paulsboro Audubon game that was 10-0 and went 5 innings was 2 hours and 25 minutes. That one is in the dirt. It'll go to the backstop, and Zach Beebe gets to second base as the count runs full to Caladros. He was down 0-2, but now he's worked his way back and has put himself back into a favorable spot again. Hot shot, ground ball to third, picked up, throw to first, across the diamond by Turner. Is in time, and the inning is over. So Audubon leaves the runner on second base, and we go to the bottom of the 4th. 2-1, Green Wave. Welcome back here in the bottom of the fourth. Scott Lynch still pitching for the Green Wave. It's time to reveal today's answer for the DWB Trivia Time. Today's question was, how many Philadelphia Phillies have been the cover athlete on MLB The Show? Was it 0, 1, 2, or 3? And you can reveal the answer now. It is 2. So Ryan Howard brought us back. Ryan Howard, after winning the MVP in 2006, he was the cover athlete in 2008, the year that the Phillies won the World Series. And then Bryce Harper, in his first year with the Phillies, was the cover athlete in 2019. So there's a strike. And it is 0-1 to Anthony Priore, first batter of the inning for the Garnets. And there's the ball. 7 men came to the plate for Haddon Heights in the bottom half of the third inning. 1 came around to score. Priore and Cameron Simon were the only 2 not to bat. So it's a 2-1 count to Priore. Priore, as there's a ground ball, or rather a fly ball, popped up in the right. Beebe will let that one fall in foul territory. 2-2. I don't know why I said ground ball. I couldn't see it. So, I mean, with the sun beating down the way that it is a bit hard to see, especially if you're Zach Beebe, because of the angle of the sun. If you're in center field, I honestly would argue that anybody in the outfield would have trouble seeing the baseball. They're all wearing their Oakleys and sunglasses right now, so it's pretty apparent that it's a bit hard to see. But 2-2. Fouled back off the Heights dugout. 2-2. It'll be Priore, Cameron Simon, and Austin Boker who came around to score. Or rather, his at-bat started that. Adam Stevens was the actual physical runner that scored. 2-2 count to Priore. Breaking ball called, strike 3. I can't really argue whether that was a ball or a strike because of the angle of our camera, but if we were in center field, I'd probably have a better case. So it is 1 away for Cameron Simon. Second strikeout for Scott Lynch. And it's a 1-0 count to Cam Simon. As there's a strike, 1-1. Fans lined up in rows here at the playground out in left field. That one's a pop-up foul. On to West High Street. That's where we're at. One, two. Downstairs, 2-2. Well, my phone went from piping hot to ice cold because I put it in the ice box that we have here for the hot games. There's strike 3. Cam Simon down on strikes and back-to-back looking strikeout for Scott Lynch. So here's Austin Boker. Walked his first time. He was the first batter of the third inning. And Adam Stevens, the pinch runner for him, came around to score. If this inning were to continue, Greg Rotolo will be next for Haddon Heights. It's 1-1. One to Boker. Swinging a hot shot out to... Oh, Lynch caught it. How about it? I don't know if
I saw that on the screen.
I don't know if my camera picked that up. I guess it did, but I thought it was a ground ball. That's the second time an Audubon pitcher has caught one out of thin air. We go to the top of the fifth. 2-1, Audubon. Drew Harris still wheeling and dealing in the top of the fifth. However, the scoreboard right now is not exactly in his favor. It's 2-1, 2-1 Audubon. A low-scoring game. A lot of firsts for the Green Wave this year. Their first 4-0 start since 2019. And there's really no beating that for a while because that was an 8-game win streak that Audubon had, which was quite interesting. There's a strike to Tyler Wiltse, the leadoff man, here in the fifth for the Green Wave. Here's a rocket deep, but playable in center, and that's caught. I lost track of the baseball, so I was about to get my voice ready for a home run call, but it was about 20 feet short of the fence. It's 374 feet out there in center field. As I said, it's pretty short dimensions, but they make up for it. They probably could only cut down so many trees before you get in trouble with some folks over that. So they probably, I mean, I don't know how old the field is. I'd imagine with some of the things I've seen here, it is pretty old, but, you know, I would imagine that they only could work with what they had. So that's why they have the fences so high, because they have to keep it a certain way. So there's a foul ball, 1-1. One and one to Charlie Copsetta after a fly ball to center to start the fifth. It's 2-1. Copsetta 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a strikeout. Here's a ground ball up the first base line, and Copsetta is retired. 2 away. This brings up Scott Lynch. I mean, if this is a time for Audubon to get some insurance runs, it will be now. Mostly because when you're only up by 1 run in the 5th inning, you know, you really have to think about it in terms of the Haddonfield game. It was a 1-run game for a majority of the ball game. Audubon jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and then with 4-3, then it was 5-3, then it was 5-4. It's always good to have some security under your belt. And this is where a tie-in from a home security business would go if we had one. But oh goodness, it is 1-1 to Scott Lynch. But yeah, it's just interesting to me how, you know, how these guys. Oh, there's a hot shot foul. Almost hit Charlie Grady out there on deck, and crashing into the netting was Jack Turner. I didn't catch it on camera, but he kind of stumbled picking up the foul ball and went into one of those L screens that you use for hitting in the cage. But he's back at home. It's the 1-2. There's the ball, 2-2. .506 Eastern Time, and the pitch is a swing and a miss. Oh, golly. Drew Harris continues to wheel and deal, and he's found his groove in the middle innings. 8 strikeouts for the junior right-hander. We go to the bottom of the 5th, moving lightning fast here in Haddon Heights. 2-1 Audubon. Scott Lynch having himself a day after Ryan Zimmer opened the show, and Scott Lynch has been the headliner. Here in the bottom of the 5th, he's thrown 3 innings, has allowed 1 run, and a couple of hits to his name. But overall, a clean day. As the first batter will be Greg Rotolo after Haddon Heights went down 1-2-3 in the 4th, and the first pitch is ball. Yes. See, I'm looking at my scorebook. I was looking at all that. That's 1-1. It's like I gotta have 4 eyes in order to. I gotta have eyes in the back of my head in order to properly call the game. But it's 1-1. Lynch, 9-1-2, due up for Haddon Heights, and that one skips away. 2-1. I think that one hit the umpire. I think. Yeah, Zimmer and Lynch are gonna talk. That one hit the umpire. I'm pretty sure on the wild pitch. Looks like he's okay. So we'll go back to the action with Rotolo and Lynch. Here's a swing and a fly ball. Straightaway left. And calling it and making the play is Tyler Wiltsey. I wasn't sure whether that would be Grady or Wiltsey, but I didn't hear anybody call for it unless maybe we're too far away. But what's that? I don't think anybody did, and that's something that. Yeah, you do. We had a couple of those last year. Some on our side There was one I remember between the second baseman and the right fielder when Audubon played West Deptford, as that one's a ball to Lackall, back to the top of the order. But I remember there was a game in West Deptford where, or not in West Deptford, in Audubon, between West Deptford and Audubon, and it was partially the reason why Audubon went to extra innings in that game, and it was mainly because it was a collision between the second baseman and the right fielder. Both were hurt. They got tangled up chasing a fly ball that neither of them called for. And it's 3-0 quickly to the leadoff man back at the top of the order for Haddon Heights. But it's a fundamental part of the game that's it's part of the mind games you have to play as a baseball player. You have to be physically strong and you have to be mentally strong. You know, we interviewed, there's a compensation call to Nolan Lackall, and it's 3-1. When I interviewed Nick Caladros on Tuesday, one of the things that he said is that I'm a big mindset guy. You know, he was talking about, if there's a foul ball, count runs full. He was talking about how, you know, he focuses on the game from a mental standpoint, and he, you know, has an overbearing confidence in himself and in his team, and it helps him. You know, you can't be a reluctant player in this kind of level of baseball. As there's a swing and a miss, so Lackall goes from 3-0 to a 3-strike, as he is down on strikes for Lynch's third of the afternoon. With 2 away for Jake Grice. Excuse me, his 4th strikeout tonight. This broadcast is brought to you in part by the Thank You Classic. Make sure that you tune in on the weekend of April 28th, 29th, and 30th for 10 games covered by Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. 2 on Friday in Pittman, 4 on Saturday in Franklinville, and 4 on Sunday at Joe Barth Field in Brooklawn. It's 0-1 to Grice. There's the ball, 1-1. If this inning were to continue, Drew Harris, who's responsible for Heights' only run with a sac fly to right, he is on deck. Bryce Dempsey warming up in the pen for the Green Wave, as that one is inside. Cooley warming up Dempsey out there. He's been a good relief asset this year, I gotta say. After not playing varsity last year, it seemed like when the path was cleared for him, you know, he ran straight through it and found an opportunity. But a walk to Jake Grice brings up Jake Harris. Good throw down to second. Lackall, or rather, in there is Grice, and he is safe. Stolen base for Grice. And now the tying run is in scoring position for Haddon Heights. One and 0 to Harris. And I called strike. It's 0-2, excuse me. Oh, you had it, okay. It's hard to keep count, I'm telling you, too many numbers. 0-2. And a huge strikeout, Scott Lynch. Beautiful pitch, beautiful execution, and Audubon gets out of the jam with a runner left on second. We go to the top of the 6th on the home stretch here in Audubon, 2-1, Green Wave. Bottom of the 6th, we're back here in Haddon Heights. We have a Paroli's pitching change here, as the new pitcher for the Garnets is going to be Jack Turner. Excuse me, I literally couldn't think of the name. But this pitching change is brought to you by Paroli's Printing and Banners, Banners, Signs, and Apparel, the true one-stop shop for all your print and promotional needs with a 5-star Google rating. If you need graduation lawn signs and banners, flyers, A-frames, business cards, or envelopes done right, this is the place for you. First batter of the inning, it'll be 4, 5, and 6 for Audubon in the 6th, and it is Ryan Zimmer who grounds one foul.
Always.
Got a piece of it, and it should be 0-2. So Ryan Zimmer, who is now the catcher, Charlie Grady, in left field. He bats next, and Jack Dempsey, the second baseman. A couple changes again for Haddon Heights. They've actually changed around a lot. It looks like Drew Costello is no longer in left field, but here's a foul ball. Count remains 0-2. So Jack Turner moves from third base to the mound. Vincent Nasuti moves from right field to left field. Here's a ground ball into center, actually a fly ball. And it is taken in right. I could not see that ball from the moment it left the bat, so I had no idea where it went. That's kind of the rough thing about this stadium. You can't really see the ball flying in the air that well. In part due to the sun, but also due to the fact that the fences are so high that it blocks the view of the baseball. But a line drive fly out, and there is one away for Charlie Grady. Fly out to right. There's one away. Here is the first pitch, and it is a strike going one. Moving to third base is Austin Boker, and moving from left field to first is Drew Costello. Here's a ground ball to Boker. Throw to first is in time. 2 away. Nice pick up there by Boker, and there's 2 down. Audubon wins today. They've improved to 5-0, their second 1-run win of the year. Because right now, the offense is taking a bit of a step back.
I was going to say, it's been pretty dead since the 40s.
Yeah, I mean, Audubon scored 1 in the first, 1 in the third, but nothing since. In fact, nobody has scored since the third. Now with the foul ball picked up by Costello. So yes, Vincent Nasuti moved from right field to left. Austin Boker moves from first base to third base. And then moving from third base to the mound is Jack Turner. He's got no 1-1 count to Jack Dempsey. Zach Beebe on deck for the Green Wave. 2 down, anything's given. It's 1-1. First 3 in the bottom of the 6th for Haddon Heights will be Jack Turner, Drew Costello, and Anthony Priori. As it's 1-2. After 5 strong by Drew Harris, he has put them in a position to succeed today with the relief game. The 1-2. Fly ball. A country mile in the air to right. And they're going to collide, but it's a sliding catch. Unless... No, that is he did catch it in right. So an amazing play, but again, that lack of communication is key. Hopefully both players are all right. They seem to get up just okay. We go to the bottom of the 6th, crunch time in Audubon, or in Haddon Heights rather, 2-1, Green Wave. Bottom of the 6th, first batter is Jack Turner for the Haddon Heights Garnets as Scott Lynch has done the heavy lifting after Ryan Zimmer threw the first 2 innings of the game, didn't allow a hit or a run, and Haddon Heights scored 1 in the 3rd, but there's really been a lack of offense since the 3rd. There's a strike, it's 0-2. Audubon at the plate has not gotten a hit in their has not gotten a base runner in their last 8 appearances. There's a strikeout for Scott.
Now batting number 7,
It's Drew Costello. Keep in mind on Saturday and Sunday is the Ralph Shaw tournament as there's a ground ball off of Lynch's glove out towards Dempsey at second. Throw to first is in time. 2 down. I don't think that hit off his glove. I think it was just close to it. So that'll just be scored as a 4-3. Audubon's last hit was in the 3rd inning on the RBI double by Scott Lynch. That was the last hit that they've had. The last hit for Haddon Heights was also in the 3rd, a single by Jake Grice. This has been a real defensive game. And Anthony Priori is the hitter with 2 down. The 4-3 ground out. Bryce Dempsey still warming up, getting some action in, getting some throws down there. So it's 0-1 to Priori. I would assume, though, I was going to assume that Charlie Grady was going to be the closer, but 2 balls, 1 strike to Priori. All 3. One or 2-1 rather, excuse me. 2 down. Huge spot for Scott. Swing and a miss. 2-2. If this inning were to continue, Cameron Simon would be next for the Garnets. 2-1 Green Wave, bottom of the 6th. And a 2-2 pitch, Scott Lynch wheeling and dealing. Can he get one more strike? He will not at this moment. It's 3-2. Oh boy, just when you want an inning to go smoothly is when everything hits the fan. Here's a fly ball, ground ball in the center field, base hit Priori. We were just talking about the offense. That is the first hit from either side since the 3rd inning. And Priori is the one to get it, and this will bring up Cameron Simon.
now batting number 9, Cameron Simon. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is H to the OV. I used to own snowflakes by the...
Blame the audio room for that one. Runner on first for Haddon Heights. Cam Simon at the dish. He is 0 for 2. He lined out to the pitcher his first time, struck out looking his second. Priori broke his 0 for with a base hit. Again, first hit since Jake Grice did it in the 3rd inning. And it is 0-1. For reference, that was 15 batters ago. Here goes Priori down to second base. He is safe. Stolen base. The throw got past Wiltsey and was taken in by Jack Dempsey to second base. And again, kids, that's why you back up the shortstop on a throw down to second base. So it is going to be 1-1 to Priori, or to Simon. Excuse me, Simon. Ooh. 1-1. Two and one. It's well, just because it sounded like one doesn't mean it is one. I mean, hey, It is amazing to me how we're 300 feet away and you can hear the catcher's snap of the glove so audibly. Here's a ground ball into center field, a base hit. Capseta fields it and it gets past him. It will roll. Scoring is Turner, and it's a double. Tie game, Haddon Heights. That was huge for Haddon Heights. The offense looked dead in the water, and after a single E8 by Charlie Capseta, the game is tied. And if there will be something to remember at the end of the day, it's that error right there. I mean, it sailed right past him. And that's going to bring up Austin Boker. So Priore comes around from first to score, and on second base is Cam Simon with 2 down. There's a strike. The pinch runner at second base for Haddon Heights is number 22, Brendan McCauley. Up and in. One and one. In the dirt. 2-1. If this inning were to continue after Boker, then Greg Rotolo will be next for Haddon Heights. He's warming up on deck. And then we go back to the top of the order, but God forbid you don't want to get there. Here's a ground ball into right, a base hit. Beebe picks it up, rounding third and coming home to score. Sliding in safely is McCauley, and Haddon Heights has turned the tables around 180 degrees. It's 3-2. Garnets on an RBI single as the middle of the order does the heavy lifting, and the Garnets have their first lead of the afternoon in a clutch spot. So Zimmer's meeting with Scott Lynch, and Bryce Dempsey just threw a wild pitch that's running all the way back to the dugout. So I don't know what we're going to do. Noel will take the ball from Scott. He would be responsible for the loss if Haddon Heights holds on, but I don't really keep track of wins and losses, mostly because I think it's an archaic stat. But Bryce Dempsey walks in from the left field bullpen. It will be a Piroli spring pitching change here for Audubon. They now trail 3-2 in the bottom of the 6th. We'll be right back after this. New pitcher for the Audubon Green Wave. It's Bryce Dempsey in a Piroli sprinting pitching change. And my, oh my, we weren't in this situation much last year, but times have changed, and so has the score this afternoon. The offense on both sides were pretty reluctant and pretty laissez-faire until the 6th inning. Nobody had a hit on either side in innings 4 and 5, but now Haddon Heights has taken the lead And that pitch gets away. But they're going to hold him up at first. Oh my. So Austin Boker had an RBI single to give Heights the lead. Cam Simon had a RBI single and an E8 to score Priori. And now the runner's on first for Greg Rotolo. It is 2-0. Ugh. Really pokes a really pokes a hole in your sails, especially when. By the way, that's a strike. 2-1. I mean, when you're off to a 4-0 start, beating West Deptford, the team that many thought were going to be better than Audubon in the conference. Here's a pop-up. In the infield, caught by Dempsey. And the inning is over. Everyone take a deep breath. Audubon's still got a shot at this. They have in the top of the 7th. 7, 8, 9 due up. It is 3-2. Haddon Heights. Top of the 7th, and a new hitter for the Audubon Green Wave facing Jack Turner. As Rich Horan's going to go over a double switch here. Gabe McCracken, number 11, will be the hitter, as Audubon had slated 7, 8, 9 to hit, which would have been BB Slavin and Caladros. Now Joey Slavin does have his stuff on, and he's probably going to get ready to hit, but Jack Turner looking for what would be the win. In the scorebook, he would get the win, as Audubon surrendered 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th on an RBI single and an error by the center fielder Capseta, which scored Anthony Priori, and then an RBI single by Austin Boker gave Haddon Heights the lead. Down low, 1-0. The best strategy Audubon can do here is watch the baseball. If you can instill enough fear into Turner, you can maybe have a bit favorable of an outcome. And there's a ball, 2-0. Because in his first inning, it was a fly out, a ground out, and another fly out on a sliding catch and a collision. So if you can watch the baseball and you can be as patient as one can be, and there is a ball, 3-0. By the way, it is not Joey Slavin on deck. Nick Caladros is. So I would assume that they would skip Slavin in the order to maybe get somebody else to hit, because you know what? Nick Caladros is in the hole, and Bryce Dempsey is on deck, and that is a walk. Take a free pass, kid, down to first base. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. That's a Monopoly reference, and it's maybe like half of my viewers might get that, but it's gonna be a runner on first for Bryce Dempsey, who's gonna get the bat here. He is the pitcher. Now I wonder if, because McCracken, I don't know anything about his speed metrics or anything like that, but they're gonna play strategy here, Eric Newell and his team. Because probably what I might imagine happening is that Dempsey might try to go for a sac bunt and move McCracken to second. It wouldn't be a bad idea because I don't know how Dempsey is at hitting. The last time I saw him hit, he was 10 years old and he was on a Diamond Nation team. Bryce Dempsey. Gabe McCracken got the at-bat and he executed exactly what I had said, and it was a quick walk, an efficient walk. And now Bryce Dempsey's at the dish. But I don't think he's going to be lifting the bat off his shoulders a whole lot either. We'll see what he does, though. Nick Caladros is on deck. Tyler Wiltsey is getting his helmet on. Turner with the tying run on first base. That's a ball, 1-0. I mean, he could throw a ball straight down the middle right now, and I don't think Dempsey would swing at it. I honestly think that's what that probably is what's going to happen. That's inside, 2-0. Fouled back to the screen, so it turns out he is swinging. He's got a quick swing, got a lot of bat speed to that man. And it's 2-1. Charlie Grady is warming up. So if Audubon pulls through, he would be the closer. Strike two. And that's all Turner had to do, was he had to slow it down a little bit, regroup his composure, and throw it right down Broadway, and that's exactly what he did. So it's a 2-2 count to Bryce Dempsey. Strike three, outside corner. Audubon can't believe it. Hands on his head, the third base coach, Noel. And now Nick Caladros will hit. But he worked the count. He did a darn good job of it. And that's a ball, 1-0. Or excuse me, strike. 0-1. One away, runner on first for Audubon. They had a leadoff walk, and it looked like Dempsey was playing the strategy perfectly. I don't know why you don't try to bunt there. It's 0-2. I mean, 1-2 rather. I mean, what I don't understand is that the dirt isn't going to carry the ball very far. By the way, it's 1-1. They just corrected the scoreboard. The ball's not going to carry very far on the dirt. I mean, that's just, the dirt is rough. It's got patches in it. It's more likely that on an infield of all dirt, like Haddon Heights is, it's a lot like a softball field, you might have more errors on it because the baseball might take a bad bounce and it might stop faster. So that, he really should have bunted, in my opinion. Move the runner to second and let Nick do the heavy lifting. But it's 1-2. It's outside, 2-2. Tyler Wiltsey is on deck, which he is 2 for 3. He's really hit every ball that he swung at in the play. He had a first pitch double to lead off the ball game, and a swing and a miss. I don't know if he could hit that with an oar, but it didn't work, and it's 2 down. 2 strikeouts for Turner in this inning, 2 strikeouts in his outing overall, and here's Tyler Wiltsey. You'd have to imagine McCracken's going to have to be on his horse if he hits one into the gap, because the last thing you want is to get thrown at home plate to end the ball game. There's a ball, 1-0. That one was at the knees. If the game were to continue after this, Charlie Copsetta would be next. I mean, this is a Haddon Heights team that's 2-2. They lost to Rancocas Valley 9-3 to start the year. There's a strike, 1-1. This is a team that looked like they were going to be on top of the world and then seemed like they went down a couple of levels, but beating Audubon, I think, would really put them back on the map for a serious state final contender. Strike 2. Oh, Noel can't believe it either. That looked low. And Audubon's down to their last strike. Runner on first, 2 down, 3-2, Haddon Heights. Audubon looking to avoid their first loss of the year. Outside. 2-2. If Audubon loses, there will be no post-game show, and we'll see you on Saturday for the Ralph Shaw. Tyler Wiltsey, 2-2. In the dirt, 3-2. I don't want Tyler Wiltsey to walk. I honestly don't. I want him to get a hit. Your best case scenario is ripping one into the gap, but the count is full. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Garnets up by 1. Ball 4. If you're Haddon Heights, that's honestly the best strategy, is to give him a free base and let it go to Charlie. There's nobody warming up in the Haddon Heights bullpen there is one actually, down the right field line. I can't see who it is though. But it seems like for now, they will not make the change, so whoever is out there will not be utilized for at least another batter. Here's Charlie Copsetta, 2 on, 2 out, 1-run game in favor of Haddon Heights. That one goes to the backstop, and that is smart to hold up there. That is very smart. This field has a very short backstop. It's not like Audubon's or a couple other fields where, you can really roam for days. So that was smart of McCracken to hold up. I mean, he's not slow, but he's not a speed demon either. He's somewhere in the middle of the road. So you got to be careful. 1-0. Charlie Copsetta. Scott Lynch is on deck. That would be huge. And that's a balk. That is huge. Jack Turner has balked, and it moves up the runners a base. And he asked the second base umpire for an explanation, and if it's a disruption in your motion, that moves the runners up. So now first base is unoccupied. Runners on second and third, 2 down. Outside, 2-0. No. This is Charlie Copsetta at the dish. A balk does not give you a free base. It only advances the runners an extra base. It's 2-1. The balk rules are very confusing, but when they play in your favor, it's like it is a real treat. 2-1. Did he go around? It does not matter. It'll be a ball. 3-1. Scott Lynch on deck. Strike 2. Close call. Audubon's down to their last strike again. 3-2. Turner working fast. Ball 4. Bases loaded. You couldn't have drawn it up any better if you were in Hollywood. It's a dream scenario, but the question is, how will each team strategize this? It's Scott Lynch batting, and now Eric Newell will come out, and I think that Jack Turner's day is done. And it will be. So we'll have a pitching change for Haddon Heights with 2 outs in the top of the 7th, bases loaded, and a 3-2 game. New pitcher for Haddon Heights and a Parolee's printing pitching change. I'm going to let my heart rate settle down a little. We'll be right back after this. New pitcher for Haddon Heights. He gets set. And his first batter will be Scott Lynch. And depending on what happens, it could be his only batter if he plays his cards right. First pitch is a ball, 1-0. Bases are loaded. If you're just joining us, no room at the inn with 2 down. And he went around 1-1. New pitcher is Mason Dobbs, a commit to RCSJ Gloucester, one of the top junior colleges in the nation. As there's a swing and a miss. 1-2. Audubon down to their last strike again. 1-2. Dobbs kicks and deals. In the dirt, 2-2. Lynch has got to be careful here. He has got to be careful. The way that Audubon's gotten in this position is without a hit. A walk, 2 strikeouts, and another 2 walks. Dobbs steps back. He'll return to the hill. With a 2-2 count to Audubon's number 3 hitter. 2-2 to Lynch. Is a fly ball rocketed to right center. It's in the air and it is caught, and the ball game is over. About 10 feet short of the fence, and Audubon is handed their first loss in the young season. My goodness, what a way to end it. Couldn't have drawn it up any better. The fly ball to right, maybe in Audubon's park, that might have been a home run, but I don't have the numbers for that. Man, that is a gut-wrenching loss, leaving the bases loaded with 2 down in the top of the 7th. And the final today is Audubon 2, Haddon Heights 3. Folks, it's been a great game, even though it didn't go in the Green Wave's favor. And that's going to be a wrap on today's game. No post-game show from us this afternoon. Haddon Heights improves to 3-2. Audubon falls to 4-1. Their first loss of the 2023 season. Folks, on Saturday, we'll have 2 games of the Ralph Shaw tournament between the Bishop Eustace Crusaders and the Kingsway Dragons. And on the next game will be Cinnaminson, the Pirates, versus the Audubon Green Wave. On Sunday will be the consolation games and the championship. Folks, from everybody here at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, our graphics crew Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, our producer Matt Wagner, I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you Saturday on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. 3-2, Audubon falls to Heights.